Greetings and welcome to So Many Levels, a D&D podcast. I'm Christiana Ellis, the Dungeon Master, and tonight we're going to play some Dungeons and Dragons.
Yay!
Tonight our players include Chooch Schubert as Autocree.
Hello.
Starla Hutchton as Nirakina.
Greetings and salutations.
And Viv Schubert as Amethyst.
Hi, guys. Gals.
After last week's meta conversation, who's ready to actually continue the adventure?
Me, I am.
Ooh, big time.
Me.
Wow. Ready or not, we're going to do it. And for those of you who are curious, yes, we do still plan to have Jared return as Mugen at some point in the future. We're just still working out the details. So who wants to let's first deal with a little bit of business. We were just talking before we started live about how you guys are all level 5 now, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
But we're also kind of starting in media res, as it were. So you guys have not just woken up from a long rest or something. So how are we going to do that? And I've decided. And so here's what I'm thinking. You all have more HP now as, your new level. But however many HP you were down based on your level 4 HP, you're going to be that many down for your level 5. So however many you gained to your maximum this time, you gained that many. But if you were 5 down before, you're 5 down now.
Excellent. So I'm down 3.
Right.
Right.
And then as far as spell slots, you have a few more spell slots, including some higher level ones. And what I think this might actually be different than when I told you guys in the email, but I am the Dungeon Master. All happens at my whim. I'm going to say you don't have any new level spells. You have to prepare those, and they're not prepared. So you technically have the slot, and so you could cast one of your prepared spells at a higher level with that slot potentially.
Gotcha.
But you don't have any new level 3, say, spells prepared yet. Once you've had a long rest, you will.
Does that include like the ones that I automatically know at the level?
No, yeah,
I
the
have
ones you automatically know for being a Tempest cleric, you do have those.
Because those are so
Cool.
cool. I'm so excited.
Yeah.
I'm gonna blow some shit up.
All right. So with that said, are there any other questions about the mechanics? You've all got new spell slots, new abilities scattered in here and there, new level hit points, so on. But any other questions about that stuff before we move forward?
I think
No.
we covered everything.
Wasn't there one that we were saving to talk about, though?
It was the hit
Well,
points.
Yeah,
Okay.
It was how we were going to deal with like the number of hit points you were down before, and I think that was the question, was the bit about we weren't starting after a long rest, so
Okay.
how many hit points do you have now versus before? Unless you had some other question.
I have a question that's just related to picking a spell that Chooch said I should wait and ask you now.
Okay,
so
sure,
you
go
know.
ahead. Yeah.
So I'm hoping that Amethyst would know, but I don't know if I were to select a spell like locate plants and animals.
Mm-hmm.
Does Mugen qualify as an animal in the natural sense or a spirit? No, I'm serious.
No, it's a fair question. Let me pull up the spell.
Because he's if an animal, then it would be a distinctive enough animal that I would
Right.
be able to see if he's in the
So,
damn city or not.
This is a level 2 divination spell.
Mm-hmm.
locate animals or plants, and it says describe or name a specific kind of beast or plant. And that's the key bit there is beast or plant, because those are creature types in the game.
Okay.
And it matters because, for example, in your wild shape, for example, you can only turn into beasts, right? Like if you've seen something that's
Right.
a
Gotcha.
monstrosity, you can't turn into a monstrosity. You can only turn into natural beasts. And so that's where the type comes into play. And despite being very animal-like, Mugen is a humanoid. And so the spell
Okay.
wouldn't apply in that case, I'm afraid.
So
Okay.
that actually brings up an interesting question for me to ask because I would need a long rest to do it. Is the thing, but since I'm talking about the sending spell, which I think is that's the messenger animal thing. Is that what that is?
No, well, so there is an animal messenger spell. Sending is actually even an upgrade from that
Okay.
because it lets someone reply.
So theoretically, after our long rest, and I can learn that spell, prepare that spell, we
Mhm.
could technically send Mugen a message that way.
Yes, definitely.
I have Animal Messenger, but I don't have the reply option. So if you're going to take that, let me know and I'll drop Animal Messenger.
Well, I've already planned on I've already got that dropped in.
Lined up. Okay.
But as we discussed, sending is a 3rd level spell, so you won't have it prepared until
Right.
until the long rest. But
Cool.
yeah, so lots of these, different rules apply. But for example, that locate animals or plants would come in very handy if it was to be something like you guys looking for that flower or that beast
Right.
that Nurakino eventually wants to track down.
Do you have that spell as an option?
I don't think so.
Yeah, I think that's a druid spell,
Yeah.
not a cleric
Okay.
spell. There's some overlap, but not that one, I don't think.
Right on.
Okay. So, as always, too, like if you guys have questions, anytime is fine for those too. But in the meantime, does one of you want to recap what happened last time in the episode that I called the Jinxie problem?
Go ahead, Chooch. I'll do it this time.
Yeah, I just drove 14 hours.
All right. Well, it's been 2 weeks, so I think was that the episode that started with there had been the fire and like that morning we decided we were going to find Melicanth.
Mhm.
And so I regaled y'all with elven poetry and
Elven
stories
poetry.
that morning to keep
Yeah.
our minds occupied. So Jinxie wouldn't be listening in, so to speak. So we did that, and then we finally we went back inside to like eat and found Melicanth, I think, something like that, right?
Mhm.
And
The pages summoned you to where the
Right.
Baron and the others were.
Were waiting for us the whole time. They were thrilled
seemed like
with
a good
us.
idea at the time. So we met with them. Does anybody remember what we were like? They were asking like we were still planning on leaving, right?
Well, yeah, and it got into the whole conversation about it wasn't. Well, I can't remember the person's name that started the fire. It was some other kind of thing. And you started lying. I'm sorry. Nira started lying all up and down the joint. We don't know for some reason. I don't know why protecting Jinx is whatever. So anyways, Nira was lying. And then we were trying to dodge that for a while. But then when we got with Melicanth,
Told her the truth.
yeah, but while we were at the council, we kind of promised that we were going to leave and hopefully lead the Hobgoblin army away from Villanocta. Yeah. And then we went and talked to Melicanth after that, wasn't it?
Yeah. And
The
told her what
real
was going
Melicanth.
on.
Mhm.
Yeah.
We said, don't tell us if you're going to do anything. We'll plan on taking Jinxie with us, or maybe not. Either way, we'll roll with it. Don't tell us if you got something planned. And so
I think it was a little bit more like, hey,
Yeah.
you make a plan and don't tell us what it is.
well, yeah, because
Right,
if she can
that's
read
how-
our minds, like
Yeah.
it makes it's
I know.
logical to me.
The way you just said it was more like, well, if you decide to do something, I guess don't tell us.
It was pretty funny. I liked hearing you guys talk about it on the meta Q&A
Yeah.
episode last week. It was pretty, and somehow I ended up coming up with your plan.
Well, it was just interesting
Thanks,
for me to
Darla.
be making a plan against myself
Right?
while you guys are like on the line. So I'm like, hold
Only
please.
Starla. Only
Anyway.
Starla. Yeah.
But yes, sure enough, there was a plan and it was put into action.
As we're walking down the hall with guards, Melicanth says, run, and we try to split up. Doesn't quite work. Jinxie takes off, and there's a battle ensues. And eventually
It
she
was-
gets bubbled, and then banished
Sent
to
to
another
another
plane of existence.
Mm-hmm.
And just as that was all happening, the Baron came rushing up, and I think that's where we left off, right?
Yeah, pretty much. We left things as the Baron, the real Baron, showed up, cleared up the misconception wherein Jinxie had been pretending to be the real Baron to the guards, confusing everybody. But when the real Baron shows up, that's pretty much settled. And so that is really where we left things. And so as we resume, the time is mid-afternoon on this particular day. This is day one of the hobgoblins are 2 days away. So you don't know exactly how far away they are, but when you were told 2 days, that was yesterday. And so you were before this whole thing with Jinxie went down, ostensibly making your way on your way out. So the assumption from everybody here is that you are continuing with that plan. And so we have Melicanth letting you know. She's kind of leading the way. Time is an issue, so no one is really dilly-dallying here. She tells you that she has your new papers all set. They had given you papers before, but the new ones say that you're on official city business. So it's basically anyone who respects Villanocta as having any authority shouldn't give you any trouble with these papers. That doesn't necessarily mean everybody, right?
Right.
They have your horses being prepared. You're on your way to the stables now. They have fixed up a pack with some basic travel rations and so on. And so she's asking you if there's anything else you need for your trip.
Our
Suit of
Mugen-
plate mail?
Have you been able to cast any kind of a spell or locator to see if Mugen is inside the city walls or out?
Melicanth says, I'm sorry, I've used I have some scrying ability, but I'm spent for today. I was looking for hobgoblin infiltrators. I can make an attempt tomorrow.
Is anyone else concerned about leaving and potentially having Mugen being at the temple in the city and the hobgoblins knowing that and laying siege to the city and anyways? Or
Yeah, we don't know if they're tracking one of us or an object one of us might have, or how,
Melicanth, she kind of says, you may recall I did raise that possibility when you discussed leaving. We don't know whether they will indeed follow all of you or what their plans will be.
right, but before we at least had a fake Mugen with us as we were leaving the city. Now we don't have any Mugen with us leaving the city, and that can be reported a lot easier.
Indeed. It is a concern.
Are we
We could-
just with
We could tie
Melicant?
that stuff down.
Hold on just a moment. Let's just make sure we don't step over this. Autocree mentioned a suit of plate mail. Is that something you would actually...
That would help me extremely. Yes, ma'am.
I believe we could arrange that. And I will... I believe... we won't have time, I don't think, to have it... precisely fitted, but I think we can give you one that's generally your size if your companions can maybe over the coming days help you to adjust it more precisely for a better fit. But we can have that waiting by your horses when we arrive there.
That would be excellent.
Sorry,
Can
go ahead.
Another quick question.
We want you the best of
We're-
chances of success.
We're going on the assumption that these shards may be able to heal a rift through space. But do we know if it would require just one of us or all of us?
I cannot know for certain.
We just
But my theory suggests that only one of you should be necessary, because the fragments embedded within you are what act as the channel, and you each have one. But as far as I can tell, there shouldn't be any need for all four of you to be present when it happens.
So I have a timeout question here. So about that in particular, because I think when we first encountered one of these fissures, Archie touched it and it didn't do anything, like it hurt him.
Right.
But then I took the spear and held it up to it, and that's when it worked.
Yeah, so what this is something I want to, because it's going to be kind of a game mechanic moving forward. Melicanth was, when she was explaining it to you last time, her theory was you had the sphere in the bag of holding when Archie touched it. And because the bag of holding makes it technically on another plane of existence,
Okay.
it was not, you were not able to channel it into the stolen moment while it was in the bag of holding.
Okay.
So her plan is to find a safe way to hold the stolen moment where it won't be on another plane of existence, on the theory that it can be a distance away as long as it's on the same plane.
Okay. Yeah.
And so
I remember that now. Now that you're talking about it, I was just thinking about it the other day. I was like, wait, that doesn't work.
Magic
I remember
stuff,
that
right?
now.
Yeah.
I got it now. So, but also, are we just with Melicanth? Is there, like, where are we
right now? There are guards escorting all of you, but you're kind of making your way through what seems like maybe a tunnel. But you weren't, like, you guys don't really know your way around. So you're kind of just following where you're being led right now. But in theory, you're on your way to, the stables where you're going to meet with all your stuff and be on your way.
Okay. Anybody else need anything?
Well, I'll take an armor upgrade if they're handing them out.
What type of armor would you request?
Well, I think Christian, I'm just asking out of character. Don't I just have a leather armor?
You have your
That's
+1
just
magic leather armor.
Is that a good solid traveling, or is that I have no idea how that is in reference to like a good traveling
Pull up the
armor set? I just feel like Nira and I should be protected too.
Yeah.
The part of the thing is, though, that you want to be proficient with
Nimble.
heavy armor,
Yeah.
or else it can throw you, right? And I believe Amethyst, as a druid, is not proficient in heavy armor.
Right.
Let me pull up.
I am, but
Mine's light armor and medium armor.
yeah,
Mhm.
I have heavy armor, but I don't necessarily. 'cause I
Right
think that
now,
was a
yeah, you have the
penalty.
mithril chain shirt that
Mhm.
you got from Travis, which the benefit was it you don't have the stealth penalty.
Right.
Um,
I think I'm just gonna stay with what I have.
okay, so so the problem, Amethyst, is any armor that's kind of tougher than what you've got. So you're technically wearing magic light armor.
Okay.
There is medium armor, but there's hide medium armor, but everything else is metal. And
Right.
non-magical hide armor isn't any better than your current magic light armor.
Gotcha. Okay.
So Melicanth would basically say, we have many varieties of standard armor, but nothing enchanted, I'm afraid.
Keys.
Is there any way, like I know right now we can't have this, the map that we talked about, would there be any way for you to get us something like that in the future if you were able to do it?
Potentially. There are ways. Yes, I can find a way. In the meantime, I have a non-magical map that I
Would be
can.
excellent.
Yes, and that will already be included in the supplies being prepared for you.
Right. Well, I think I'm set to go unless anyone has any objections.
Hmm.
You're kind of doing a walk and
little
talk
worried
right
about-
now, too, by the way,
Sure.
unless you want to stop.
I'm a little worried about not knowing where Mugen is or how he's going to find us. And if this is actually going to be a benefit, but we're, because instead of surrounding a walled castle, now we're leading an army rampaging across the land. But we're committed, so, that's what they're expecting.
Well, in regards to Mugen, I can send him a message later. I have that ability. So we can get in touch with him and let him know where we are.
Melicanth, if he comes to you. No, go ahead.
The other issue I don't have an answer for.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Can't tell which is the lesser of two evils. Other than, we brought him here, so.
I'm afraid we
No.
may be in a situation with no good choices.
So Melicanth, since we're leaving the stolen moment with you for now, can we also use you as like a point of contact with Mugen if he contacts you, that we'll get a message to you when we know where we're headed and where he can meet, where
By all
Mugen can meet up
means.
with us?
Mugen.
I will do my best to see that you are reunited to the extent that it is in my ability to do so.
Thank you.
At this point, one of the you hear rapid footsteps approaching, and you turn to look down the tunnel, and there is a halfling running towards you, and you realize as she draws closer that this is the scout captain who gave you intelligence on the hobgoblin army. And she approaches, and even though she's been running, she doesn't seem out of breath, but she stops and just says, "I'm glad I caught you. I would like to offer my services as a guide to you. I know the hobgoblins. I could help you evade them, and I know this land. I believe that I could help you if you do intend to flee."
So looking at the halfling, Christiana,
Mhm.
how tall in comparison to Mugen?
She is shorter than Mugen. Mugen is about 4 feet tall. She's like maybe 3. But she does have her own fitted leather armor and a bow over her shoulder and a pack. She looks like she's ready to head out.
I don't think it's going to hurt anything to have more help with us, especially given how much has changed since, 100 years.
Yeah, I would welcome the help if your superiors are okay with it.
She nods and she says, "Yes, I've been granted leave. I do have one condition, and I would hope that it's not too onerous. But if you do intend to try to draw the hobgoblins away from here, I would ask that you not draw them through Durania. I know people there."
Do you have well, that was actually going to be my next question. If anyone had a suggestion of the route that we should take that might cause the least amount of chaos and damage.
Well, I'm not sure there's going to be, I mean, I think the least amount of collateral damage would be if you lead them through the wilderness, but that will be harder on us as well. I am well used to traveling through such lands, so I am game for whatever direction you choose. But to make the journey harder on the hobgoblins makes it harder on us as well.
Well, but 4 people alone can move a lot faster than an entire army.
Indeed, yes, that's very true.
Let's get wild.
All right. So let me. Do you guys still have that map? I can.
Yeah.
So she can kind of
Region
pull
map?
out a map. Yeah, and let me. Yeah, I'm just gonna be looking at it, and I can put it on the. I can add it to my little window here, so she can just kind of describe what she's suggesting.
And I'm casting Goodberry and handing everybody 2 of them, damn it.
All right. So it still might be a little. Let's see. I think I can zoom it in. Okay. I don't think I can make it any bigger than any more zoomed in than this on in my software here. But in any case, she describes that you guys are in Villanocta, which is the large city in kind of the upper, the northeast part of this map. You can see Lake Elamon is slightly, is south and slightly to the east. And the road that went through Durania and on its way through New Crossing and Gorn goes more directly southwest.
Mm-hmm.
And so she would suggest that you basically be heading kind of directly south from here. Because if you were to go too far east into the forests, those are elf lands, she tells you, and the elves would not be welcoming if you especially if you're trailing an army.
So where is the army coming from?
From the northwest.
Do we know approximately where they are right now?
Not with precision, and not only that, the large host of their army may be in one location. So this is Andrew Bushgather, the scout captain, talking. Although we don't know with precision exactly where the bulk of their forces are, as they travel as a war legion, they have many outriders and raiding parties that could be anywhere. In fact, their most far-ranging are almost certainly in the outskirts of Villanocta as we speak.
Well, what if we go directly south in between the forest and the lake and take that route? Because I feel like there was something, I mean, as long as we're going, we should tend to whatever we can. And there were some rumors surrounding the lake that we may want to look into.
Yes. Strange creatures.
Okay, well, I do not I have not been down towards Lake Elamon recently, but I have traveled that region before, so I can guide you, and I know the landscape, if not every single town within it.
All right.
I
I guess we'll call that a plan.
think that sounds like the way to go.
Uh,
And do you think Amethyst?
Sounds fine.
And so as you had kind of stopped, you were talking with her, you hear someone clear their throat from the other end, like in the direction where you were going. It's a male voice, kind of, and as you turn to look, it is Teg, the slightly mysterious person on the Royal Council. It seems to be the Baron's friend, but it's not clear what his job is exactly. He is there, and he says, "So you are heading out then?"
We are.
I wonder if I might speak with you for a moment in private. And Melicanth kind of scowls at him and says, "Why?" He says, "Well, if I wanted to tell you, I wouldn't request to speak with them in private, would I?"
Fine. Let's just hear what you have to say. Let's go to the side and talk to him.
So he looks at Melicanth and says, "If you want to continue with the preparations of their supplies, I will bring them to you directly." She kind of sulks off. So he kind of nods at Andrie, and she looks like confused, but he doesn't seem to be concerned with her staying. And he looks at you and says, "I have been given information by a certain independent businesswoman of Papertown, and she has informed me that she has certain crucial information, as she puts it, relating to the hobgoblins and why they are pursuing you. But
Okay.
What's her price?
She insists, at least as she described it to me, she insists that she be allowed to give that information to you in person in Papertown before you leave."
Okay.
Well, I
Information's
think
good.
we need all the information we can get, and we did kind of blow off a meeting with her.
I do feel badly about that.
Yes,
But I mean,
Our control.
an army came, thing. I figured she'd understand.
he kind of gives sort of a nervous, not a nervous laugh, but sort of like a, ha, yes. On that note, I would encourage you to be respectful in your communications with her. You are on, I'd say, thin ice already. Just a word of warning.
Okay. Bring her a bag of candied lizard tails. Be nice.
Is there anything we might do that
he
could
kind of
smooth
grits
that
his
over
teeth
a
and
bit?
says, "Are you here?"
Good.
Okay, I want to just clarify for my own knowledge for a moment. You realize that Madrigal is a dragonborn, do you not?
I think we
Yeah, I
know
heard that.
And you arranged to meet her at a candied lizard tail stall?
It was the only place that I could think of that we were a bit rushed for time. It was just the first place that sprang to mind. It's
We have
absolutely nothing
a
against
lot
her.
going on. Lots and lots going on.
Oh,
Well,
I get it. I get it.
Yes,
Yeah.
so I would just encourage that whatever reasons you had for making that decision, as you approach Madrigal, consider the message that that might have sent to her. I have
Absolutely.
already overstepped what I have been requested to communicate to you, but it is in my interests that we do not have everybody killed by hobgoblins.
Understandable. Is
So-
there a specific
Mhm.
place that we need to go?
She will send a delivery to you as soon as you have left the city walls.
All right. Thank you for passing the message.
Of course. And then he says, "All right, follow me. I will lead you to where Melicanth should be seething while she prepares your supplies."
I think you enjoy that a little too much.
Oh, do I? Perhaps.
I hope it's nothing personal against elves.
Oh no, not elves in particular. I mean, elves are lovely in many cases. I don't know that I especially appreciate Melicanth. She's a bit
Dry.
stuffy.
Yeah. Lacks a bit of a sense of humor, I think.
She also. I've said too much. My apologies. Follow me.
Your secret's safe with me.
Oh, it's not a secret. So he continues you down this tunnel, and it's actually not too far. You were really apparently just doing. You're going through the island that the palace is on. You were passing through a tunnel from one part of the palace and emerging near where the stables are. And it looks like it's intended to be a means of getting from one location to another when, for example, the city might be under bombardment or something. But so you emerge from this particular tunnel near the royal stables, which are still on the palace part, the palace island part. So your horses are there. They have indeed assembled a suit of plate armor. It is not the fanciest looking. They did have short notice, given that it will fit at all, and they assembled it for you in about 10 minutes notice.
We're guessing, yeah.
So the plate armor, incidentally, I mean, you might have the stats, but just the way it works is basically straight up when you're wearing it, your armor class is 18. And then your shield on top of that would be another 2 when you have it up. You do have a disadvantage to stealth checks.
Still, yeah.
Yeah, which I think you had already anyway.
I had the
but-
chainmail, yeah.
So, so they have that, but it takes a little while to get in it, and so unless you are planning to don it right now, are you?
No, I think we need to get going.
Okay,
I'll strap it onto a horse.
right. So Melicanth really gives Teg the stink eye when you guys show up, but is otherwise not prepared to continue talking about it. So she shows you that they've packed up some, supplies in, relatively, nice looking leather like travel backpacks, rations and various just miscellaneous bits and bobs of traveling supplies. And those are there with your horses. Are you
Well,
mounting up, heading right out?
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
Thank you for your hospitality and for all of your assistance. It's appreciated, and I hope we can do some good.
That is my hope as well. I had not anticipated that events would turn out this way, but if there's even a chance that we can make some headway at healing this world, then you shall have my full support. It is my first priority.
Ours as well.
Yeah.
And I shall be in touch with you magically.
All right. Farewell.
Okay. So you saddle up. You've got these packs. Are you wearing them, or what are you like? Are you just taking the packs like you would normally carry packs, or are you? What's the plan?
Can I just like put it like attach it like to the saddle, like a saddlebag, like on the
Yeah.
back of the
Yeah.
saddle? Like, yeah, okay, I'm gonna do that then in case
Yeah,
I
that'd be
need to
my
hop down in a hurry.
preference.
Okay.
I mean, I've already got a warhammer back there, so.
Well, as a group, you've also got a bag of holding, so that's kind of what I was not sure if you were going to put it all in there or not.
Well,
Oh,
I was
yeah.
actually planning on, as we're doing our little trek to Paper Town, actually starting, I was looking at the list of our inventory to start handing poisons and such to you guys. So I was hoping you would keep your bags handy.
Okay, well, how about we do that?
Yeah,
Let's
'cause,
Okay.
all the eggs in one basket is probably not a good idea.
Yeah, especially when the basket isn't easy to grab a hold of in battle. So
Yeah.
I'm just gonna, there's a whole list of them. I'm just going to give Nira and Autakri the first four poisons that are on the list. And I'm just gonna strike through those on the list. Do you want me to read
Gotcha.
through those? I
think I've
specifically
got it.
want Autakri to have the basic poison and the carrion crawler mucus because they're contact poisons and you can coat your weapon with them. And then the drow poison and the assassin's blood for Nira actually would make sense because they're ingested and she doesn't get up close, but she could sure sneak something in a drink.
What are you saying?
I'm saying you got a little wiggle in your walk, girl. It's all good. Works for the team. And then there's also a truth serum, and I'm gonna pass that. And the no, I'm gonna give an antitoxin vial to Nira and Autakri. And what's the halfling's name?
Andri.
Andri.
You're right.
And one, I'm
Andri
gonna give one.
Brushgather.
I'm going to give an antitoxin, a poison resistance. It's not a cure, but I'm going to pass that to Andri.
Andri.
Andrew.
Andri.
A
I
N
don't
D
need
R
the
E E.
truth serum because I have a spell that can do that.
Okay.
Sort of.
Chooch-
Like I can read thoughts, so.
Yeah, I could use it.
Okay. Okay. I'm going to give that to Autakri then. So you're writing this down, right, guys?
Mm-hmm.
You each have a poison, and Autakri has a
I'm
truth
sure as
serum.
hell not writing it down, so you guys
No.
better.
No, I'm marking them off the list what I'm giving out, but I'm not like. Yeah, you guys got to keep track of what you have. And then we've got 3 oil flasks. Does anybody not have a night vision besides me?
No,
I'm gonna hand one to.
I think-
As a halfling, what would Andri have? What kind of vision would Andri have?
Let me double check. I don't think halflings have dark vision.
Okay.
But I'll tell you in a moment.
Why, thank you.
They do not have dark vision.
Okay, so I'm going to give one to Andri. You said that's Andree?
Yes.
Andree. Okay, so I'm going to give Andri one, and I'm going to keep the rest for myself. Keep one handy outside of the bag, that is.
Hmm?
The books can probably stay because we had like some scrolls and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. There's a poisoner's kit, also alchemist supplies, essence of ether. I'm going to put that in my pocket or in my local bag, my hand quick bag. And alchemist fire is just a light. I can cast my own light though.
No, alchemist fire is like a flask of napalm.
Whoa. Okay, I'm not going to give that to Nira.
Oh,
Yeah,
I'm
so
gonna
like you
it for
throw that and
myself.
it smash it against something and it ignites when it contacts the air and it's, that's what alchemist fire is.
Okay. Do you have an attack like that, Autakri?
No, I don't
Like a
think
fire
so.
throw? Okay, I'm going to give you that. Because I have something like that, and Lord knows Nira does.
I'll take the poisoner's kit. As long
Okay.
as you give me ingestible poison.
By the
how-
way, just as you dig more and more of this stuff out of that bag, Andrea is just standing there, eyes wide. She's not saying anything, but she's just kind of going.
I'm not even worried about Andrea right now. Right? I just gave her 2 gifties, so she'll be good for
Yeah.
a minute. Okay, so Archie's got the napalm.
What about that sword? I think Archie might.
I know that now. I don't know. That was what I was going to actually have to ask Christiana out of characters. I don't know
Yeah.
what magical items that Mugen had.
So Mugen got the sword from the dragon's pile as part of
Right.
winning the race, and immediately put it in the bag of holding and never touched it. So he did
Right.
not ever attune to it or anything like that. You guys don't actually know exactly what it does. It's obviously magic, but you don't know what it does exactly. It
Can I
got
have the
put in
cape?
there, and then he also had he also put the cape in there, so he does not have it.
Can
It's
I have
in the bag.
cape?
What's the
I
cape?
want to Banff places. I
Cape
want
of the
cape.
Mountebank, which is the one that lets you kind of once a day Banff like Nightcrawler, essentially.
Oh,
I want to
Jesus.
Banff.
We'll take turns. We'll
Ah.
rotate it. We'll take
But we
turns
have
with it
to
until
attune to
Mugen
it
comes
as the
back.
thing.
You
Well,
do
then-
not.
then we
that
need
one,
to say
that
it
one
for-
you
then-
don't have to attune to. You just put it on and it works.
Yeah,
And
if
essentially, the way it works is while wearing it, you can use it to cast the Dimension Door spell as an action, and it can't be used again until the next dawn.
oh, we're totally taking turns with that, honey. You're not just walking
Yeah.
off with that. Sorry, that's too badass. We will take turns until Mugen returns. The stuff that we have to attune to, if that's a one-off, then I don't think that we should attune ourselves to anything that is his. But
Well, he put it in
Well,
the
you
bag
can
immediately
unattune
because he
it.
had no interest in it.
so you can unattune and someone else can attune to it.
Yes.
Oh, then fine, yeah, whatever.
Yeah. So
And the ring-
magic items that you attune to, basically all it takes is someone else attunes to it, and then it's attuned to them. There are exceptions where things can get more complicated with specific items, but that's the way the mechanic of attunement works.
Okay. Sorry for all this dry stuff, guys, but we got to manage our
No,
pets.
hey, you guys have
Anytime you're
been
going
putting
into the
off going
battle.
through that stuff for a while. I mean, you guys
I know, I've tried, but I'm going to be the nagging mom. So the ring, there
It's
was
mine.
that you've got that now.
I have that. I've been wearing it since I got it. So
Okay. Okay. So I don't know what else Mugen would have had.
I think that was all. Although he also wasn't using Bad Penny, so that ought to be in there somewhere.
I think I still have that.
Yeah.
'cause
Yeah, I think.
I
yeah.
tried to give it to him and he never took it. So I'm
Mhm.
like, okay.
So what's Bad Penny again? I forget.
It's
That was
the
the
thing
thi-
that you can flip it in the air and it's kind of hypnotizes them a little bit. And they have to
Mhm.
do what is it, like an intelligence
Yeah, wisdom.
something?
Gotcha.
Wisdom check.
Okay, so you've got that. All right.
Mhm.
I mean, if
So
somebody else
yeah,
wants
there's
it, I'll give it up. I forgot I had it.
So there's a couple of other poisons. I'm going to leave those in the bag. I think that we're all kind of loaded down pretty good with stuff that's handy. So just keep track of what you've got so that you can use it when it's needed. Okay.
So did you
Cool.
decide where the sword and the cape are going? Are those going
the-
back in the bag, or? I mean,
Nira
I-
can totally take the cape for the first turn.
Yay! I love Nightcrawler. He's my favorite. Well,
I know, girl.
Yeah, I can test the sword out. I don't think anybody else wields a sword.
Yeah.
So
And,
to attune to
mm,
something means spending an hour with it, like kind of just
Mhm.
holding it and concentrating on it.
Okay, so
So maybe save that for tonight.
snuggle up
Yeah,
on
or
it.
when we're writing. Yeah.
Mhm.
Tune to. Okay. So yeah, and then whatever else was in his room, I don't know if there was anything left after Jinxie was in there by herself, himself.
And that's in
Herself.
wherever Jinxie went. So
Yeah.
Mhm.
All right, we're good.
All right. So you're on your horses. You have guards on their horses, basically just to escort you to the gate, but they're not directing you; they're accompanying you.
Okay.
So, are you headed for the gate?
yep.
Going to the
Yeah.
south gate, that was kind of what you had previously discussed. It seems
Yeah.
most in alignment. And also that is where the bulk of Papertown is.
Yeah.
So,
Sounds
Alright.
good.
all right. So you cross over the bridge from sort of the Palace Island back into the city proper. You're making your way through the city. It's very clear that word has gotten out about you guys. You get the sense that like what people have heard might vary quite a bit from one person to another, but it's very clear that people are you are people to be paid attention to. So there's lots of stares as you move through the city, and a variety of reactions. Like some people are like kind of awestruck, some people look scared, some people look mad, some people are cheering you on.
I'm going to ride in high elf fashion with my chin in the air slightly. Just slightly. A little bit. As high elves do.
All right. So you make your way through
Oh,
the city.
and we need to. I don't know if we'd said anything. Whisper to our new companion, Andri.
Andri.
She might want to. Did she have the hood up?
She didn't, but has a hood.
Might want to.
Oh, okay. You think so? All right.
Thanks.
How do I look?
Great.
She actually kind of smiles a little bit sheepishly.
Aww.
All right. So you're making your way through. You make your way towards the city walls. As you approach, they raise the portcullis for you, and you can see that on the other side of it, there are a number of city guards whose job it is apparently to keep a crowd of people from the outside from rushing in when the portcullis opens. So
Oh, this is racking with guilt. People that don't want to die.
yeah, no one is like screaming, but it's obvious that they're a little agitated. Like, if the guards were not there to stop them, they would definitely be rushing in. But no, there's not active fighting right now. As you make your way through the gate, you can immediately see that there has been a lot of disruption so far in Papertown. In fact, since it was all kind of temporary construction buildings and a lot of tents and so on, a lot of them have already been, taken down, and others are in the process of being disassembled. There's a lot of frantic activity, and you gather that there's a lot of people feeling like they need to make a run for it.
As they should.
The guards that were escorting you through the city do not accompany you through the gate, and they do close the portcullis behind you. And then as you are kind of making your way past that initial sort of crowd, you see a young man. It doesn't look like combat leather, but it's leather in the same kind of red color of the Rouge Rogues that you had met before.
Guys again.
And he just kind of approaches you and says, have you agreed to accept my lady's invitation?
We have.
We have.
Right? We have.
Mm-hmm.
Wonderful. Please follow me. And he leads you kind of more towards the center of what is still there in Papertown. And you make your way in, and he leads you to a really big tent that looks like it must have been like maybe there was like a full bazaar in this tent. Like it's a huge tent. It's like perhaps oval shaped and 150 yards in the long direction. And the peaked roof of it is 2 to 3 stories. So it's really a really big tent, and it would take some time to disassemble. It looks though like it has mostly been emptied out in preparation to do that though. So he leads you inside, kind of bows to you as you pass in, but does not pass in himself. Do you enter the tent?
Okay.
We're not on horseback anymore, right?
Well,
At this
so
point?
Right.
he, yeah, he basically, I'm assuming that you rode your horses to there,
Right.
but you're tying your horses at a post before
Yeah.
going into the tent.
Yeah. I'm going to take
Yeah.
my pack with me. just in
Okay.
case.
I'm
Alright.
taking mine as well as with the bag of holding, and I'm also taking a moment to cast guidance on all 3 of us. It's a cantrip. It doesn't cost a thing.
I'm not
I
sure
think you
if
can only do one at a time, can't you?
Yeah, I think you can only do one at a time.
Okay. So I'm going to cast it on Nira because I know Nira's going to talk first.
Actually, I could do that on myself. I have it as a cantrip.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
so,
so-
3 at a time or 1 at a time. You can
So
just
yeah,
go poof.
sure.
poof,
I'll
poof.
boot myself with guidance.
Nira, self-guidance. I'll cast
right.
it on Archie,
so
and then I'll get myself.
as you enter the tent, you can see that there's a lot of debris and kind of like torn up ground, because it's clear that there was a lot of stuff in here that's maybe been moved out as the tent is being emptied out. But there's still piles of crates and baskets and other just miscellaneous debris. Some of it might be just not packed yet. Other might be, left behind here and there. But it's clear that there used to be a lot more stuff in here that has been moved. And as you kind of walk in through some of these piles, you see that there's a big open area in the center where there is basically just like a simple wooden desk kind of sitting right in the middle, and then kind of sitting like leaning back on the edge of the desk is a 7-foot tall red dragonborn woman. She has kind of a long, thick, scaly tail, red scales, all over her, all of her skin is kind of red scales, very dragon-like face. So it's a little difficult to maybe fully, you know what? I have a picture. I can just, I can show you. Let's see. So it's a little hard to read her facial expression. But this is what she looks like.
Yowza.
Yeah.
So she is sitting back on this desk, kind of casually, but definitely watching you as you approach.
So I will go up. I'm going to stop a couple steps away from the desk and sort of bow just a little bit, and first.
Okay.
You sent for us?
Give me just 1 second. This is not magical. This is me,
Right.
Christiana. Let me give me 1 second. Sorry, I have too many different places for my notes. Just a second. Okay. All right. Okay, Nira, as you approach, you hear just a little bit of a rustling from behind some of the crates, kind of off to one side behind her, maybe 20 yards away. So you approach and you kind of bowed, I think you said?
Yeah. A little bit, not like you would for like, a king or
Sure.
something, but a show of respect.
Sure. And then you said first, and she says, "Indeed, I did, more than once. I'm grateful that you chose to follow through with your second
There were
opportunity."
circumstances out of our control that prevented us from meeting you the first time, and we do want to apologize if there was any slight on our behalf. We weren't familiar with the town, and it was the only place that we knew when we suggested it.
Well, circumstances are often in the way, aren't they? And yet, we are held to a standard where our words must mean something. As for the lizard tail thing, I know you didn't get an opportunity to go there yourself, so I arranged to have some brought in for you. And the guy in the red leather comes, and basically he's holding like a paper bag of what might be candy lizard tail in it, and he just like drops it at your feet and then walks away. She says, "I don't care for it myself." So your position then is that you had no idea. Is that what you're going with here?
Well, we were pressed for time, and it was the only location, and it's my fault. I accept responsibility for that because it was the first place that came to mind. It was the only place I knew by name.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that, because it means I owe my friend 5 gold. So, I was a little disappointed to have our meeting not occur as intended, but here we are now with a new deal to be made on the horizon. So I have some possession. Oh, sorry, I'm out of character. I'm getting a notification. I am in the possession of some information that I believe you may find useful, even critical, and I'm in a position, feeling now generous. You have come to me as I requested. You have shown up at my location of choosing, walked in under honest pretenses, made a respectful show of apology. I'm willing to just give you this information. How we proceed after that may be another matter. But for now, I'm assuming you are interested in the hobgoblins, yes?
Very, yes.
Well, as it happens, my associates have included some various exiled hobgoblins from time to time, and a recent arrival has some intelligence that may come in handy. Excuse me. And then so she claps her hands, and from again from like behind you, this same guy with the red leather shows up and has got a hobgoblin with him. This hobgoblin is not wearing armor, wearing not ratty, but also very, very plain, ordinary clothing. And he is beat all to hell. He's bruised, swollen, got one arm in a sling, scars on his face. He looks rough, but it also looks like it's had some time to heal. Like this didn't happen just a few minutes ago, happened maybe 2-3 days ago. So he's roughed up, but on the mend is how he looks. So he comes in, he's actually kind of limping just a little bit, but he comes in and looks at all of you, giving you kind of the, top to bottom examination, and maybe a little bit. His expression is a little hard to read. Apologies for the frog in my throat, everybody. It helps with Madrigal's dragon voice, but not so much.
Aw.
um, so Madrigal says, "So, Kethak, care to tell these good folks what you told me?" And he nods and he looks to you and says, "You are the ones they seek?"
We are.
So we're told.
As she told you, I've been exiled from my people. This is not something I am proud of, and yet I do not regret the actions that led to my exile. For it is my belief that the Hatching Phoenix is not a worthy leader for the Hobgoblin Legion. He has united the clans over a period of many years, promising glory to all hobgoblins, retaking of territory, a building of our strength, and for years it seemed as though this was his true intention. And yet, just in the last couple of weeks, it has all turned to madness. He leads our entire force across land with single pursuit of... Please do not take offense. You. And I believe that he is doing so in an attempt to grow his own power and not for the glory of the Hobgoblin Legion. I know that I am not the only hobgoblin in the Legion that feels this way. However, I was the one caught saying so. And so here I am. It would do my heart good if we could find a way to have the Hatching Phoenix not be the leader of the Hobgoblins anymore.
Do you know what he wants with us?
This is the key to his madness. He claims that he must fight you 1-on-4. He looks at Andre. Are you the fourth? I thought there was supposed to be a fox creature.
Oh, never mind that for now.
In any case, the 4 he seeks, he wants to fight them and claims that if he can demonstrate that his power is sufficient to defeat you, it will right an ancient wrong and allow him to seize further power that will allow him to remake the world as it should be. It's nonsense. And if anything, his power, it is no natural magic he wields. I believe he serves a higher master that does not respect hobgoblin honor.
I see.
Mm.
So what is it that you're asking us to do? What do you want us to do with this information?
Well, I, exiled, injured, there's very little I can do. However, as I mentioned, there are others, highly placed soldiers within the Legion that feel as I do, and yet Hatching Phoenix is powerful. It has always been our way that to take a leader's place, you challenge them, and the winner assumes the rank. But he is too strong for any of us. However, this fight, if he plans this fight and thinks that it will be this grand battle, then perhaps it will weaken him enough, or at least give us an opportunity when he is distracted and we can strike. We can take him out.
So you're suggesting drawing him out. We wear him down, and the hobgoblins on your side, the opposing faction, finish him off.
Yes.
Doesn't sound very honorable.
Well, how do you propose to make that happen?
Well, first, as for honor, it is his madness that drives him to seek this fight. Right now, he is not using tactical genius or planning of any kind. He is showing no respect and wasting his soldiers that he spent so long building, and he is doing it for his own personal glory. If he does not fight with honor, then he does not deserve honor in return.
See
But-
that?
But if he's behind this entire army, how do you propose we get anywhere near him?
Well, it is his desire that he fights you. He wants to fight you at your full strength. That is his purpose in bringing the army here. You simply present yourself, and they will bring you to him.
Hmm. Thoughts?
Madrigal kind of pipes up and says, I have some.
Thought
By
you
all
might.
means.
It seems to me, as a businesswoman who conducts most of her business in a town that is currently evacuating, that anything that gets the hobgoblins to go away would help me out quite a bit. It sounds to me like your current plan of fleeing is half measure at best and may not be effective in any way. So my thinking is you can choose to go along with this plan, or you can convince me why I shouldn't force you to.
I had a feeling that might be the deal.
Mm-hmm.
Well, sounds like you're a smart man.
When we originally made this decision, we were working off of the information that we had available to us, which does not include what we were just told.
Well, I told you that it would be information you would find useful.
I think we need a moment to discuss this amongst ourselves.
Of
I'm
course.
sure you can understand.
Of course. And she does not make a move to go anywhere. She just kind of folds her arms. She's still sitting on the edge of this desk.
And we kind of gather sort of away.
Other side of the tent.
Yeah. So you
Maybe not that far.
are you going like back in the direction of the entrance, like back the way you came?
I suppose, but not.
Yeah,
not
I'm just asking because you came in one side, she was in the center, and if you're going somewhere else, I want to know: are you like if you're going back the way you came versus like
Well,
going
we're not. I don't
the
think
other
we
way?
would- It doesn't make any sense to like walk past her because like our horses
Well,
are back that way anyway.
I agree.
Yeah.
I'm just asking if that's in fact what you're doing. All
yeah,
right,
we'll just.
Yeah.
sounds like you are. Okay.
If we can think we can reasonably talk low and be
All right.
private, then yeah.
I'm assuming you are staying within the tent, though.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. And there are, like I said, some of these like piles of crates and stuff. So there's some of them big enough that you could kind of go behind them. As you do get closer, you do see though that there's a pair of kind of beefy guys standing in the doorway you came in there,
Figured as
and so
much.
they're looking out, but they're definitely blocking the door.
Mm-hmm.
Andrew has come with you. The hobgoblin has not.
Well, one mystery solved. We know what he wants.
And Andrew says, "Well,
Yeah.
if you can believe them."
I don't think we
That's what,
have.
yeah.
Money is a pretty powerful motivator, especially to someone like Madrigal. I don't think she would force this decision if she thought it wasn't good information.
Well, yeah, and if she thought that their intent was just to kill us, we'd already be in their hands. She wouldn't have, why make it a choice? She would have just handed us over. That's what I would do in her place.
Unless she just wanted you to walk over there and turn yourselves in without her having to fight you.
Hmm. True.
Incidentally, we hadn't had you guys ask for a while, but I'm just going to remind you, you can do things like insight checks and stuff like that. And you haven't asked me, so I haven't been giving
Mhm.
you the results of what you would get. So I'm just reminding you that's a mechanic you can make use of.
Yeah, I was just looking over mine over to see if I had anything that would, other than just a general, I don't know, deception check. I don't know, to see if they're lying.
Wait,
But
yeah, that's what we should have done when the guy was
Yeah.
spilling the beans.
So a deception check is what you do when you're trying to lie.
Right.
Insight
Oh,
is
okay.
what insight is what you do if you're trying to get a sense of what someone else is doing. And
Gotcha.
I'll let you make a kind of retroactive insight check.
Well, I was going to ask, like, does it have to be in the moment? Is it too late?
I'll let you do it now because I'm kind of reminding you that you can.
Okay. So
Ordinarily in the moment, though.
I will roll an insight check to see if anything sounded fishy to me.
So against, I mean,
The hobgoblin,
okay,
because his
Mhm.
information was.
right.
Let's see. So I rolled a.
And we get the
14.
benefit of guidance, right?
Mhm.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
right. So I rolled a 14. See if I can do better.
Well,
guidance is you add
Isn't
a
that what
1d4.
guidance
you add
is
a
not
1d4.
advantage. You add a
Oh,
1d4. not-
1d4. Okay, so
Yeah.
I rolled a 14 plus 3 plus 1d4. So 17 and 3. So 20.
Okay. The hobgoblin seems pretty sincere. Like, your limited experience with hobgoblins so far, they tend to be very stoic in general, kind of taciturn. And so they don't necessarily show a lot of emotion in their face usually, but he seemed kind of really worked up into sort of a righteous anger about how bad this guy is, and he wants to take him down. That's what he wants. And so he seems sincere in saying so. SSSS.
What if we asked him if there were names of people we could look to back us in this if it goes down? Thoughts?
Yeah, that'd be good information to have, though. If we were to call somebody out, I would imagine they would deny it if they're
Well,
in the ranks of the army.
I don't think that would be the case. I don't think that would be wise. Likely we'll be taken prisoner. Who knows? Maybe we'll get visitors. And it would be nice to
Right.
know going in,
Yeah.
just for our own information, if a person speaking to us is someone we should put faith in or not.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a good point.
Because I think at this point, we either go on our own or she's going to make us go.
Yeah, I think we're going to have to fight our way out if we don't go.
Yeah. Yeah, that could get ugly. There's a lot of people here.
And this would have the advantage of keeping the army at a safe distance from the city.
Yep.
And as far as the council knows, we're still gone.
Yeah.
That does, however, I think, open up an option for Andri to possibly change direction or
Well,
plan.
she just kind of says, I signed up to help you run away from hobgoblins.
Right.
I
Exactly.
We
would
would
have thought
not
it goes
expect-
without saying,
yeah.
I'm not going to go with you if you're
Yeah.
going to the
We can't
hobgoblins.
ask that of her.
Nope.
Can't ask that.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
What I can confirm though is that certainly speaking out against the leader is absolutely the sort of thing that could get you exiled, like he said. And it's certainly true. I think I told you in the council quarters that what they're doing now is kind of crazy, and there's
Mhm.
there was no indication of this up till now. Hobgoblins find beauty in war. It is what they like. It is what they respect. And that includes tactics and fighting smart. This does not seem like the Hatching Phoenix bringing his whole army down where it's subject to being fought by other armies and be overextended and away from their territory. It doesn't seem like fighting smart to me, and I can only imagine that it would rub some of his men the wrong way. So
Yeah.
he might be telling the truth.
Archie, do you have any thoughts about this higher power the Hatching Phoenix might be answering to? Clearly, this
Not
is
really.
somebody. Well, it's somebody that wants the original timeline restored. Any ideas?
Or
A religion
yeah.
check or something.
Yeah, you guys can make a religion check.
So another 15 plus 3. And
And let Chooch make one at advantage for reasons that will become clear. Depending on what you get.
so I got a 22 total with because
Okay.
guidance is still in effect, right?
hmm
18.
Really well tonight.
Okay. So you know, Nira, that certainly, I mean, you are a perfect example of, a mortal being who has a master servant type of relationship with a higher power, this very powerful spirit of Rishama. And in your case, it's more of a ritual sort of thing. Like there's a magical spiritual connection between you, but it's kind of based on like action and connection and communication as opposed to like possession, right? Or it's not like a contract exactly. It's more of it. It's more based on, at least ordinarily, ritual and voluntary service and so on, which is a little bit why, again, it was weird in your particular case that you were selected against your will. But ordinarily, the connection between a cleric and your patron spirit is a voluntary one. And that's kind of what it's about. But you also know that there are times that spirits can just straight out dominate people and force them to do what they want. And for that matter, especially when it starts coming to extraplanar spirits, that can be very powerful and it can lead to all sorts of things. And in fact, you saw a bit of that when you dealt with the demons in Durania.
Mhm.
And so there are definitely spirits that could be acting as a sort of master to this hobgoblin. It's absolutely something that spirits sometimes do.
Okay.
Archie, what you also know is that especially in the context of like higher master, that sort of language sounds a lot like some of the stuff you read about devils.
Gotcha.
Because you read about all that in the library.
Mm-hmm.
I literally don't deserve to know anything. I rolled a 1.
Ah,
I deserve none of the knowledge.
So I'm going to explain what I know to Amethyst. So pretend I just said all that to you.
And you know, they can all. Demons tend to make deals and such, but devils can directly control people. Or was that the other way
Oh,
around?
no, it's the
That's
other way around. Like demons are more likely to just straight up like, no, I am just going to actually overpower your soul and work you like a
Subjugate.
puppet. Whereas a devil is more likely to make a bargain of some sort. And in particular,
Makes
this
sense.
sort of thing like, oh, you have to do this thing to prove yourself in order to get more power. That sort of thing is very much like the sort of things devils do.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds familiar.
So you think there's potentially a devil involved here rather than a demon?
Or no, most likely a demon, and I mean it could certainly be related to
But if he's having
A-
to prove himself by fighting us.
particular. Hmm. Either way, there's definitely could be a possession, or you know, this could be related to the thing.
Yeah, the thing. Well, have we reached our decision? What is our next move here? I mean, how can we best be prepared for this?
Well,
We're talking about going behind the enemy lines of an entire hobgoblin army.
who are we asking? Are we asking Madrigal? Are we asking just, I mean,
Oh, I'm still talking to you two.
Other than a good night's sleep, yeah. I don't know what else.
a long rest?
I mean, yeah, having a
The hobgoblin also did say that he wants us at full strength.
mhm.
So likely we won't be abused if we're taken into custody.
Yeah, if we could, well, I mean, if we went back into Velenocta and get a messenger sent that challenge has been accepted, and you know, we'll meet them tomorrow or you know the day after. I guess see if they stop. If they stop marching.
Well, I have a means of potential. Okay, so Christiana, I have another technical question. Would
Sure.
I be able to send a message to the Hatching Phoenix myself? Like if it's somebody that I don't know, can I do that?
With that sending spell, is that what you would be using?
Yeah.
I feel like sending you have to know them. Let me double check. Sending to a creature with which you are familiar.
Hmm.
So you would have to have met them before.
Well, there was that person on the side of the road that we didn't kill that ran away. The one that
Ghostly
conjured all the
apparition.
illusions.
Mm-hmm.
When will we ever learn? Kill them all! Kill them all!
Well, we tried. You buggered off before we got a chance.
But I mean, I think a messenger from Velenocta would
Well, our
be effective.
hobgoblin frenemy might have some ideas as well.
And Andrew points out is like, and the longer we wait, the closer they're getting to the city.
And we don't know that they'll let us back into the city,
Right.
honestly.
Right now, they're not letting anybody into the city.
Yeah.
I mean, you guys have special favors with the council, so you might be able to work something out, but they're kind of, I
I
mean,
don't think that's an option. I don't think
No.
Madrigal will allow it anyway.
you guys saw the crowd that they were keeping out of the gates when we came out. Like, just imagine their reaction if they saw you guys go back in.
Right.
Okay, so do we fight our way out of
Wouldn't be
here,
pretty.
or do we
No,
go
I
along
say
with?
we accept her offer.
Right on.
We agree to go.
Yeah. I think that's the right thing to do.
Right, so back to Madrigal.
Well, have you come to a decision?
We have. We will go willingly. However, we have some more questions.
Oh, of course.
I don't know if you can answer this or if our hobgoblin friend here might have insight. Is there a way for us to get a message to the hatching phoenix that we're en route? Potentially stopping the army?
I'm sure that could be arranged. As I mentioned, I have a few hobgoblins in my employ. I don't think we would send our friend here. He has some rather personal feelings and the concern that they would kill him on sight. Valid, I'm sure, even if he should show up with good news. But I do believe that I have some neutrals who could get in close and pass on the message for you.
All right.
What would your intention be? Why would you send a message instead of just proceeding on your way?
Well, if that one person rode like the wind, it would give us time to. We had a bit of a issue this morning, so we would ideally like to maybe gather our strength just a little bit before diving into a hobgoblin army, as it were.
Well, I certainly cannot say that I don't understand your reluctance. My own feeling is that I would as soon have you out of here as soon as possible.
Well, we did have another question actually. If there was anybody within the army, as you say, that would be willing to go against the hatching phoenix, would you have any names so that we might know who could potentially be trusted? Not necessarily called out, but looked to.
Yeah, Kethek
Subtly.
nods and says, "We do have a code word that we had used amongst ourselves. It is difficult because too obvious a code phrase would be very difficult to explain and too easily detected. And Hatching Phoenix is powerful and able to use all manner of evil magics to spy, so we've had to be very careful. But the code phrase of False Phoenix is how we identified ourselves to each other, and any hobgoblins that might approach you and use that phrase, you can trust that they are with our aim of toppling the Hatching Phoenix from his position of command. I don't have direct personal knowledge of this, but I believe that even his second in command, the Untouchable himself, may be with us, but biding his time. It is not the hobgoblin way to strike a foe and be defeated when you can bide your time and be victorious.
Of course. All right. Was there anything else that we wanted to ask before we get down to this?
Before we Yeah, I can't think of
Mm.
anything else you.
No.
So, well, Madrigal, how would you know if, I mean, when we leave here, we could tell you that, I mean, we intend to go, but are you going to have us followed or send people
Oh
with
yes, definitely.
us? Just getting it out in the open. Just wanted to make sure.
I see no need. I want you to know that I'm having you followed so you don't try anything. It seems rather obvious to me.
Well, I don't think at this point we have
That's-
a lot of choices. So, I guess thank you for the
Date with
information.
destiny.
Yes. I understand your desire to wait. My own desire is to not give the hobgoblins any reason whatsoever to come any closer to where we are right now. So, what we could perhaps do is provide you with a wagon. It would allow you to rest somewhat more on your way as opposed to riding horses. If we send our messenger faster, hopefully that would delay their approach. And as long as you are on your way to them, that would be sufficient. As long as you're away from here.
Naturally.
The Kethek did not go into it here, but he made it clear that the Hatching Phoenix is able to tell where you are. I don't know how. He says he doesn't know how. Kethek? Kethek says, I don't know how, but he always knows where you are.
All right. Well, we just kind of assumed as much.
Mhm.
But again, we don't know how he does it either. I suppose
So-
we'll find out.
Before you jump to the conclusion that I am purely hostile towards you, I want to make it clear that the best outcome in this scenario is that you are successful in toppling the Hatching Phoenix from his reign, allowing the remainder of the hobgoblins to go back to where they came from and stop making business difficult. That is my first choice in this situation. However, if the second option is that they no longer have any reason to come here because they have killed you, that is still better than if they come here and drive us off.
Naturally.
So,
I think if they kill us, you're going to have an entirely new set of problems, but
that sounds hypothetical to me.
sure.
In any event, it is my desire that you are victorious. And so, as a result, I do not wish you to stay here or in Villanocta. However, if you were to make a camp somewhere away from here, on your way in that direction, I cannot promise that the hobgoblins would not come for you there, but at least I would not object to you taking your rest in some location other than here.
Well, I suppose
That's reasonable.
That's
reasonable.
fine. That's
It's really, I think that's might be the best we can hope for. What do you guys think?
Yeah. Perhaps we can come back and meet under better circumstances.
I think that that is a lovely idea. I hope it works out that way. In the meantime, is there any next of kin you would like me to forward a message to?
Yeah,
Not
let
necessary.
Mellencamp know that we're walking into the belly of the beast.
Maybe pass word to, what was his name? Tig?
Tag,
Tag.
Tag.
forward our mail.
She kind of blinks like she's not 100% sure who you mean. But she says,
the Baron's close friend.
oh, interesting. I have my ways. Don't worry about that.
So, shall we Mosey.
let's head out.
Thank you very much for your time and the information, Madrigal.
Of course. I hope he doesn't kill you.
That's a lovely
at ya.
sentiment.
Hope the army doesn't come slaughter everybody.
Have fun storming the castle.
Mhm.
All right. So, as you are making your way back towards the exit of the tent, this time, the two guys have stepped aside, so they're not blocking the door anymore. Which I'm going to go ahead and say is kind of a neat trick because Madrigal did not say anything. She did not call out or
Yeah.
give any kind of a signal.
Yeah.
She's got these guys trained.
So we're taking a wagon then, or
Well, did you take her up on that offer? It wasn't clear. I mean, if you want to,
Oh,
they will provide one. Okay.
Yeah.
So, we
So
won't be
are-
stealthy, but we'll be rested.
So yeah, if you guys they bring up a wagon. It is designed to have two horses hitched to it. So I don't know if you guys you can have your horses walk along and have two of them hitched to it. Although your
Yeah.
horses are riding horses, they're not really used to pulling a wagon, but you
Yeah.
guys can figure something out.
Yeah, just bring them along.
All right. So let's assume then that you kind of rotate the horses out over over time because to not put too much strain on any of them.
right?
Right.
Okay.
Solid.
So
Oh, have we said goodbye to Andry?
so right now I'm assuming you're just kind of getting to the wagon and getting that
Yeah.
settled.
Mhm.
And then Andrea is kind of saying, so I guess I'll pass on your message too. I'm not sure I want to count on what she has to say. And I hope you guys know what you're doing.
Kind of what we say
Rarely
every time we go
do.
to these things.
Yeah, rarely.
I have to say though, I mean, I don't want to say it's stupid, but I'm kind of amazed. Like,
How
just
stupid
like,
we are.
well, I just mean, it's a whole army of hobgoblins coming after you, and you're gonna just go right to them. Do what to protect the city?
We
I
only need to
a lot
kill
of other
one.
people in the way as well. But if we come back, you still interested in coming along with us?
oh, sure, yeah. I mean, I maybe we'll talk about that when the time comes. I just I don't even know what to say right now. This is I'm just good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We can use all we can get.
All right. And so she bids you goodbye, and I'm assuming you're riding off, and you're following the road up around the outside of the city walls
Mhm.
to go more in the direction of the northwest, which is where hobgoblins are coming from.
Yes. To the
As
eye of
you
the storm.
yeah. As you pass around the walls of the city, Paper Town is that sort of main area that was sort of clustered around the south gate, but by and large, people did have kind of some settlements almost all the way around, mostly clustered around the gates, but you see signs of settlements that are kind of either been abandoned or, disassembled and taken away. So there's definitely more people like having fled their current location that you're sort of passing. And as you kind of get to the branch point, you're heading up northwest. Let me pulling up my map again just to make sure I'm keeping track of you properly. Oops. Sorry, hang on. It's taking a long time to open the file for some reason. Okay, so in any case, yeah, as you kind of get to the northwest, you cross over a bridge, and it's mostly kind of grassland. There's not like a big main road in this direction, but there are trails, and you kind of see forest off in the distance, sort of more in the northern direction, and more kind of grassland more in the western direction, but you're kind of headed that approximate way. And you do see some sign of people who have, fled from the city, but not as many people going this way because this is where the hobgoblins are coming from. So, are you trying to travel stealthy at all, or what's your plan? It is
there a point
currently
to that?
It's currently like 6 or 7
Yeah.
o'clock. Well, you haven't rested yet.
Well, we're in a wagon on the main road. Like, how stealthy could we possibly
Like
be?
I said, it's not a main road. It's kind of like there's sort of various trails, but they're not heavily trafficked like the big roads you've been on before.
Yeah, I guess.
Well, do we want to just like set up camp early? Get a good meal? Start resting
It's all
up?
about,
Yeah,
it's
we
all
could
about getting a nap
drive-
for Nira's always want a nap.
So we can see if we can drive off the path, at least in the dark, or people with dark vision won't be able to see us from the path.
Maybe is there a cluster of trees or something somewhere?
I mean, there's trees here and there. So if you guys are looking for a cluster of trees to make your camp in, then yeah. Meaning,
I feel
It's
like
like,
we
I
should
don't-
be a little bit away from the city, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I don't necessarily think it's a good idea to go into one of these abandoned places because they can
Right.
nurse a little too easily that way.
So I do have pass without a trace, by the way.
Mhm.
Each creature I choose within 30 feet, including me, has a +10 to dexterity stealth and can't be tracked except by magical means. Leaves behind no tracks or other trace of its passage for up to an hour.
Well, we're already being tracked magically. If he wants to find us, he's gonna be able to.
I was more thinking about randoms on the road that maybe looking to rob us
Mhm.
before we get to him.
Yeah.
Sure.
I don't know.
Go
if
for
that'll-
it.
But I mean, you're talking about getting off the road and all of that kind of stuff. I'm just saying maybe we don't want to do that while we've got a bunch of people watching us.
Right.
So further from the city or something like that. That's all I'm saying. Before we, some of us put our heads down.
Yeah, it makes sense. Keep going a few hours.
But not far.
Yeah, not too far, just away
Okay.
a little bit.
And Nira, you can meditate in the back of the wagon while we're going that hour or two. How long do you need?
4 hours.
So, from the time that you left on the wagon, that was going to be like 5, 6 o'clock. So, to get the benefit of a long rest, you still need 8 hours to pass, but you could be doing something else for the 4 hours. That's how the long rest works for Nira. So it's not
Mhm.
that she can get a long rest in 4 hours. But she can do something else in the meantime.
Right.
But yeah, so are you guys basically just going to kind of keep going away from the city maybe until it gets dark and the normal kind of time you would be making camp, or?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Yep.
So you find sort of a cluster of trees. It's off the sort of trail that you're on. And you, are you making a fire?
Do we need one?
I can cast produce flame and start a fire with it. It doesn't have to be a damage attack. I can probably do it with Druidcraft too, if I
I
look.
don't know that we really need a fire.
Yeah. I mean, because we've got rations and stuff, we can just make use of that for right now.
Okay.
We could set a torch up blocked by the wagon so that Amethyst can see.
Heh.
Well, there's also moonlight. I mean, it's not total darkness.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you make your camp, and let me just see what happens. All right. You have somewhat of an uneasy sleep, just given kind of the circumstances you find yourselves in. But nothing bothers you during the night. You wake up in the morning, having received the benefit of a full long rest.
I still need to. I didn't do my nightly ritual of.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Do you want? Let's go ahead and do that then. Yep.
And you better bamf it
Now-
on too.
Now we can actually set our new spells.
Yes.
All right. So I have to do my little meditation thing. So,
Mhm.
Rushama, your servant comes before you humbly, offering knowledge of the day. Today I learned the hobgoblins want to kill us. Particular reasons are speculation on my behalf, but it's fairly clear it has something to do with someone wants to restore the events that were taken in the stolen moment. And what I would surmise from that is that our deaths have something to do with making that happen. This is dangerous, and I really don't know if we're going to survive. So if you have any tips, that would be great. But I think that's all I've got.
And what you hear is, you are on your destined path. And that's all.
Well, that's reassuring. Thank you, Rushama. I'm done.
All right. So you sleep through the night. You wake up refreshed, ready to face the day and all that might come with it.
Yeah, I guess I will try on that plate mail.
Okay, yeah, good. Is that a transfer one?
Manifesting that, Archie.
My Rambo scene. Strapping on gear.
All right, I have to adjust your.
Oh, and an amethyst. Perhaps I can look at the sword from the bag.
Oh yeah. You want to say you attuned to it while you guys were resting?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what he wants to say.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, yeah. I was going to say it, but then we just kind of we rested. So I figured I can do it while we're riding on the wagon either way.
All right. Okay, so
Wagon
so
attunement.
you sit and you kind of meditate on the sword for an hour or so, and it was a long sword, and you could see that there was sort of like a magical sheen of some kind around it before, but like the more you hold it, like this sword kind of it almost glows in your hand. It's got this sheen to it that's just cool. And sure enough, it is a +1 longsword. Gives you an additional +1 to both attack and damage rolls.
Ooh.
Sweet.
Mm-hmm. All right. So you've got your armor on,
Yes.
and you're continuing to head northwest. Any change to how you're doing that? Just kind of
think
making your
so.
way in that direction.
Yeah, I mean that's the only information that we had about like where the army
Mhm.
was. So
All right. So as you make your way in that direction, you're not on the road more than an hour or so before you see in the distance 3 riders that as they get closer, you realize they're not riding horses, they're riding wargs, and they're headed in your
Yay.
direction. Are you continuing to head towards them, taking any additional action?
Should we prepare to surrender? I mean, it's what we're here for.
Yeah, right.
Yep.
Yeah, I guess we'll just wait for
All
him.
right. So do you just stop the wagon and
So-
you're staying everything as you are, or what are they
I
seeing
speak
as they ride up
Goblin.
on you?
I speak Goblin, so I mean, if we pull off to the side of the road, I can just like stand in front of the horses and talk to them.
Yeah, so I would get off, walk up to the front of the horses, so it'll be a meeting party, and I like be holding my shield, but not have a sword drawn.
Okay. So as they come up on you, first, because of course they do that thing where they try to intimidate you by riding in a circle around you and making you have to kind of keep turning your head to look at them. Because of
Mira
course
is
they do.
unimpressed.
But eventually they stop in front of you. One of them clearly has like fancier armor than the other two. He is obviously the one in charge. But the other two are more kind of ordinary soldiers. They're all 3 riding wargs, and the one in charge says, "Have you come to give yourselves up?"
We've come to parley with the hatching phoenix.
Lay down your weapons. Accept that we will bind your hands and we will bring you to him.
We have your word we'll be unharmed until we get there, at least.
Until you are delivered to the hatching phoenix, you will be unharmed.
What's the all unarmed and binding? We're walking towards an army. What are we gonna do?
He has a fair
Yes.
point.
It is my duty to ensure that you arrive at the hatching phoenix unharmed.
Mm-hmm.
The best way I can assure that is that I have you under control on the way there.
I'm sorry, how many did you say are there?
Right now, there's only 3. In this group that's
What
rode
guarantee
up.
do we have that our things are still going to be here? We're not just going to leave them.
Oh no, we will bring them with you. We just do not want them in your possession for now.
Well, if you don't want to be harmed, I suggest we politely and in a friendly manner travel together to the hatching phoenix, and sincere promise we won't cause any problems.
Make a persuasion roll.
I cast guidance on him real quick.
Okay. Yeah. No,
It worked.
She said it before you said the result, so they all.
Sweet.
Guidance.
Precedent established.
I'm doing persuasion, right?
Yeah.
Oh, sweet. I got +6 to persuasion, so 23.
Nice. He says, "Very well. However, I expect that you will conduct yourselves with honor and not attempt any trickery on the way there."
Absolutely.
Very well. Then we shall do the same. Follow us. And
Getting back
So-
on the horses, or
yeah, I assume.
Okay.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
So basically, they have the one in charge kind of riding. He actually kind of circles around to like ride behind you, but he's got his two underlings riding up front. Excuse me. So they continue in the direction you were kind of heading already. Although at one point you kind of veer off on another trail that wouldn't necessarily have been the obvious one to follow otherwise. But before long, no more than another like half an hour on the road, and you are joined by another 2 raiding parties of the same size. So there are now 9 hobgoblins on their wargs, kind of all around you.
Fantastic.
Love a parade.
Some of the new writers give the one in charge that you had spoken to a little bit of a look, like, why are they not bound? But they don't say anything. They don't
I mean,
challenge.
honestly, we're riding into an army, and it's just the 3 of us. Really,
That's
I mean,
right. They don't say anything.
Right. All right. And so as you are drawing closer, you see in the distance, hang on just a second. Let me. You start to see that there is some evidence of like some kind of a structure having been built. Let me pull.
as it is
Sorry.
being built, or as it
Well,
has been torn
it's-
down.
No, built. Like it's sort of
Siege engine.
like it's a camp. It's essentially a war camp.
Or pavilion.
Yeah, as you get close, sorry, I have sort of a picture that I was using as a model, and I want to just have it. Okay. So as you ride up, there's a path leading in, and you can see that trenches have been dug in kind of a circle, except for certain areas where there's a path. Spikes have been set up facing outwards, made from trees. This all looks like brand new, like they've done this overnight. And various tents and structures have been put up. They're all very quick, like stuff that like they've brought with them and decided to make their sort of camp outpost here in the last 18 hours or so. But so they bring you in. There are at this point hundreds of hobgoblins all around you. Some of them have wargs. A lot are on foot. They have many of them have the same sort of basic armor, but you also see a variety with sort of fancier armor. They actually have a bunch of like regular goblins doing like menial labor. None of them have weapons that you can see. You see a couple of bugbears, which are kind of like big hairy goblins. And mostly those seem to be bossing the regular goblins around. And there's various little camps you could see. They've built a fairly impressive little war camp here. And then they bring you kind of to this center area where the fanciest tent is, and the goblin officer or this hobgoblin officer that you initially spoke to gets off of his warg, stands in front of the tent and says, and kind of does this kneel. It's like, Lord Hatching Phoenix, I have brought them to you. The tent flaps open, and you see it's a hobgoblin, but his eyes are kind of glowing red in sort of a subtle way. Like it's not bright, but they look wrong. Like not just like bloodshot eyes, but like really just dramatic red eyes. And he steps out. He's wearing dark red robes, like not armor. Like every other hobgoblin you've seen here has some kind of armor on. It's all they wear, as far as you can tell. But not him. Just robes. He's got kind of a gnarled wood staff that's been. It looks like it's been slathered with tar, but his hand doesn't stick to it. Like it looks sticky, but he's just holding it like a regular staff. And he just steps out, and accompanying him is a hobgoblin. And you know how I've mentioned how like some of the maybe the officer hobgoblins have the fanciest armor, or like fancier armor. This guy has the fanciest armor. It is full plate. This guy is huge. His nose is bright blue, which contrasts very dramatically against his reddish skin. This guy, he's got like a huge greatsword on his side. He looks like a badass. That's, in terms of just standard like warrior fighting, super scary guy. But then again, he's also standing next to the guy who doesn't feel like he needs to wear armor, and his eyes are glowing red. So, in any case, those two accompany, both together come out of this tent, and the hatching phoenix says, "Very good. You have earned a promotion. Report to your commander and explain the situation." Turns to you and says, "You've not brought your friend?"
You'll have to take that up with Hu Jing.
"Oh, I will. But it is your loss in the meantime. I suppose you have come because you have had the situation explained to you."
Yeah, we heard you had a death wish.
You want to make an intimidation check on that?
It's as if Mugen's here. Get it, Tiefling, get it.
That is, 14.
He laughs. He's like, "Yet, of course it would be you. I look upon you now and I see your skills have grown, and yet I expected more. And in fact, I'm realizing you do not have the full picture here. You do not know who I am. Or do you?
True.
You do not.
I just heard the name.
I suppose it's just an ordinary thing for you then. Fighting hobgoblins, humiliating them, leaving them bound, ignored.
Well, we were attempting to show mercy, but
Huh.
I suppose that's subjective.
We didn't
Well.
want to kill you.
To kill me would have been showing me honor. But you did not think me worthy. You did not think me a worthy opponent. You did not even check to see if I was still present. You did not. You ignored me. You thought me nothing. Well, my desire to show you that I am not nothing, my desire for vengeance, called out across the plains and was answered. I received power from across the plains, a bargain of sorts. The power granted to me to achieve my vengeance, to achieve the glory that I have always deserved, in exchange for
Destroying the world?
remaking it.
Huh.
And it just so happens that my desire to kill you aligns with my master's desires. And so I have been promised even greater power should I kill you. And I had been prepared to take on all 4 of you at once, but if I must fight the 3 of you now and then your mislaid fox friend later, then so be it. However, I will make you the same bargain that I made back then upon our first meeting. Surrender yourself to me. I will do with you as I see fit. And all of this can be over. I promise you a swift, merciful death. Or, and I'll profess I'm kind of hoping for this, we can fight. And then when I destroy you, I will have finally attained the vengeance that I have sought all these years. What say you?
A hatching phoenix, is that what you call yourself? The hatching phoenix, sorry, wrong article.
Hatching for now.
Phoenix.
Soon
More
to
like
be
a false
reborn.
phoenix, if you ask me.
What would you know of it? You know nothing. My master has kindled the flame of power within me, and soon I will be born anew as an even more powerful wielder of magic.
You're just like every other villain. You're only out for your own power. You don't care anything about these people that you profess to lead.
They
It's
lead.
revolting and dishonorable.
They follow me because I am powerful. I am strong. I have united the warring clans in a way that has never been done in all of Hobgoblin history.
If
They
that's what you
follow
have
me.
to tell yourself every night before you go to
Right.
sleep.
And then you squander it for a personal vendetta. Good job, guys. That's good. Great leader.
You notice that the real buff guy in the armor behind you, when you said that, he does raise his eyebrow just a little bit. But the hatching phoenix just says, all of this is just words. You know not of what you speak. You think me the same weakling exile that you met back in that temple, but I am so much more now, and I will show you that I am not to be trifled with. All right,
Because
so
of your master's power. Right.
well, so here's what I'm going to say. We don't have time for this encounter tonight. So I
That's
think
fair.
we'll leave it there. And so you've been brought into the Hobgoblins camp. You have confronted the hatching phoenix, and he has declared his intent to seek his revenge.
So we're gonna fight in the tent, or like, how's this gonna go down?
Well, you're right now. You're in like the little sort of open assembly area in front of his fancy tent. But
I'm sure he's going to want a whole ritual. Yeah.
that's where we're gonna leave it this time because yeah, like I said, we're already at 11:15, so
I'm really having trouble figuring out how we're gonna do this without Mugen. Like we're down an entire party member.
Hmm.
All right,
That
so
frying pan packs a punch, man.
yeah. All right, so I think we'll call it there for tonight, leaving it on kind of a cliffhanger.
Da, da, da.
But yes, Paulette says, "Well done, kids. Hope you know what the hell you're doing."
Never do.
Not a clue.
All right. So that said, we'll leave it there. I think I've said that a couple of times now, but
All right.
actually we're going to do it. So we'll be back next week and we'll talk to you guys later. So next week, and somehow I can't end the show tonight for some reason.
See you next
so
time
many
on
levels.
So Many
Oh, stealth check,
Levels.
smoke bomb.
Did